Hi everyone, I'm Vixey and welcome back to my art channel. Oh, I haven't actually got a theme song yet. We do plan on having one. Again, I would like to have community input on it so that we can make it our song. And again, I can't do that live yet because I still don't have the tools to do so. I need everyone to subscribe because once you clear a certain amount of subscriptions, then YouTube allows you to unlock those tools to be able to go live. And that way, like, we can work together and I can hear immediately from you. So, this episode is called The Fourth Dimension. As you see, which I'll demonstrate with this Rubik's Cube, that when you have dimension, you have like the front, the flat, the first dimension, which is across this way, like across this way, and then there's up, and then there's the depth, so that's the third one. So what is the fourth one, you may be asking? The fourth one is very often considered time. So I'm just gonna scramble this. Scramble the Rubik's Cube. Don't panic, don't worry, I can actually solve it, so I'm just gonna do that now. So over time, and again, it's okay if things start out a little messed up, right? What you want to do is you want to find a nice solid base. Okay, so we're going to start with yellow again because I often think starting with the lighter colors is always good. You don't want to go too heavy too fast, you know? So we'll start with yellow. Now, yeah. I'm going to post like a full tutorial on how to solve a Rubik's Cube at some stage, so stand by for that if you would like to figure out how to. But basically, we're going to get a nice solid base. Now, I'm not a speed cuber, clearly. I'm quite slow with this. So bear with me a little bit. But again, it's okay. It's okay if you are not as fast as everyone else. I have always been a very late bloomer. I am someone that, like, I will take my time to get there. I will get there, but I will often take much longer than other people to hit those milestones. Mostly because I kind of, I guess I obsess a little bit over some things, so sometimes I just get a little too absorbed into things. Which, I mean, has its good sides and its bad sides. Sorry, I have just dropped canvases on my tripod, and that's just shifting everything. I'm just gonna move those out of the way. So yeah, it's okay if it takes you a while to get somewhere. Some people get there faster, some people get there slower. Take your time. Everything happens in its own time, and I have learned to be a great believer in divine timing. Some things you can't predict when things will happen. Like, you know, when you'll meet the one, or when you'll, accomplish certain things in life. Like, people reach these milestones at different points. How often I say if anyone in chat wants to, like, keep a track of how many times I say each episode and post that, I would actually like to see that, and see how I can perhaps curb that somehow. I will definitely look into it if somebody posts that. So that's the middle part sorted out. And as I said in the previous video, every journey starts with single steps. So you start with the bottom layer, you get the next layer, and then you get the upper layer. And the trick here is actually not to be afraid to like mess it up at first, because in some cases you actually have to move stuff out of the way in order to like get stuff that you want in the right place. And the example I'm trying to make here is that over time things can improve. You can get closer to that goal, you know? And if you do take a little bit of time and a little bit of know-how, you can actually get there. So time, yes, time can do many things to many people. And in my philosophy class, we did discuss a lot about like how time could be a true measurement of love. I mean, there is probably many ways of measuring love. People, obviously, the big thing that everyone's talking about is love languages. How some people will be like words of affirmation or acts of service, gifts. I'm actually a very words of affirmation, so like if people say supportive, friendly things, I actually really love that. I love texts and things, so seriously, leave comments, like encouragement for my channel and things. I would really appreciate that a lot. But time is also one of the things which for some reason isn't in the oh well, actually yes it is. Quality time is one of the love languages. So yeah, some people do find that time spent with them is an expression of love. So let us spend some quality time together doing some painting. So let's bring up this. Sometimes when I do these paintings, I go, what the heck? Where did that even come from? I don't remember doing that. So again, this is going to be my abstract symbolism portrait of my favorite streamer. If you have somehow already guessed who that is, by all means pop that in the comments, and we'll see who guesses first. Although I haven't given you much to go with, like I'm seriously just laid down like not even a third of the background, and I did actually choose this lovely long kind of painting, mostly because I kind of had an idea of like where I wanted to position things on the paintings, but also when we went to the art shop and we were trying to choose the what size canvas I wanted to use, I just saw this one and I thought, that is kind of unusually long. And I don't know, it just appealed to me. Anyway, I did say I wanted to get some more pinks in here. Now, I've been a little bit lazy and I have just gotten this like tube of pink. But, you know, you can totally just mix white and red. Mixing white and red does give you a little more control over the colors, but I also have these paint pots which have the from this lovely dark kind of rosy kind of pinks to these more like kind of mauvey ones, and then this almost skin color one. This actually goes, this other one goes even more skin colory and goes really into the skins. This would be a really good one if I was doing a realistic skin tone portrait, but I'm not. I want to I want to be clear that this is very much going to be abstract. The hyper realistic one is going to be the one of my cat, which we started over here. So yeah, let's get stuck into that. I also have like the red palette, so I'm probably gonna mix a little bit of that in there to try to get that. And I do have a red tube and a white tube here. I do actually have that, but like I said, I'm gonna be a little bit lazy and just go with some pre-mixed pink as a starting base, and I'm just gonna pop it in. I'm not gonna go all the way over here. Like, even though I'm probably going to use a fair bit of pink, I'm going to do a little bit at a time. And I'm going to actually pop this right over here with my yellow and oranges, because I am going to blend a little bit. And it's much easier to blend when they're right next to each other rather than blend them when they're all the way over here. And that also keeps these free up for the blues that I'll probably use later. But as I mentioned in previous videos, you don't have to have like a fancy palette or anything like that. You can totally do it in like, you know, a peanut butter jar lid. All a palette really is a surface you can use to like just mix your paints before you pop them on the canvas. And that is also just one method that you can use. Like, you can totally go straight onto the canvas, like I showed with the welcome sign, where I just wrote it right on with the tube. And you can use your fingers, and oh, I'm gonna definitely do this later. Is I've got a couple of these little spray bottles as well, and I can find my, oh, I've already put my original one away, but if you want to have a peek at the first episode, I show on the original one, I have like a drippy effect and a few other, I keep saying I really gotta stop saying that. Hold me accountable. Like, somebody put a counter somewhere, keep track of it, and tell me no, and I will try to stop saying it. Okay, so let's actually get stuck into this. I'm gonna pull out, I feel like using a different brush. Now, this one, I know, okay, so Dad was like, well, like, telling me off of this, is like, this brush that's just totally caked on paint here, and it's actually gone all hard and stuff, alright? This was actually on purpose. I use this because, because it's hard, it can, like, scrape. And I wanted to scrape like a very exact sort of thing into my paint at the time. Which, and actually the back of this brush also has some dried paint on there that I use it to scrape. I'm actually super excited because just the other day I got some sculpting tools, which I will get to work with soon. I haven't got them right here at the moment. I will definitely remember to bring them next episode. So yeah, they're exciting to look forward to is use with new I gotta stop saying naughty. Stop saying naughty. Literally just said it again. Maybe that can be part of the intro music. We're gonna get some water. Get some water. Again, I put it in the jar so that I won't spill it, and I can put a lid on it. And it is still a bit yellow because we used yellow earlier. Change it as often as you want. And it is very important that you keep it in a totally different thing than you would a cup of drink. And yes, I learned that the very hard way. I put my teacup next to my my paint water, and yes, lo and behold, there was a time when I picked up the wrong thing, took a sip, and immediately could taste my mistake. So, and needlessly to say, I spat that out immediately and was like, get that out of my mouth. And rinsed my mouth out. It was just like, never doing that again. So, since then, I have been super careful. I do make sure that if I do have I actually really do have a drink like lying around, but if I do, it's like further out of reach, and it's in a totally different container and probably with a straw. And not something that I can just pick up and go, At this point, I don't know why I'm even gonna try using this, because I'm just like not gonna pay attention to it, and I keep forgetting to like actually turn it up the other way. But it does look kind of cool. I like the sand in there. Might actually use it as some inspiration for painting later. Speaking of painting, let us get some of this pink on a brand new brush. I'm going to use a nice flat brush, not for any reason. It was sort of just like a nice broad brush, and I want to make some nice broad strokes for the background. Obviously, like, I mean, I want to use bigger brushes for the background because I want to cover a large amount of space really quickly, and because I don't like require any extra textures. I will then go in with smaller brushes when I want to really build some definition in the shapes of the brush strokes. But that's just going on there, and that is a very pretty pink. That is coming out really nicely. I'm pleased with this. I'm very pleased with this. What we might do, since I do have like this beautiful array of all these pinks, is that I'm going to start with the darker one on top. Really blend that in with the orange here. And then I'm going to just gradually get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, so that this pink part here really gets like a lot of attention and a lot of spectrum of pinks. So really demonstrate all the beautiful different colors. And as always, I like to really extend the color right over the edge of the painting. And you see, I'm getting some of the strippiness happening already because I am using a fair bit of the water. I might actually turn it on its side here because I would prefer the drippiness coming down this way rather than this way. So gravity can be your friend or your enemy. I'm going to choose to be friends with gravity today and understand that it is always going to drop this way. An artist friend of mine who was also the star of my short film The Price of Art, she had a technique where when the water drips, you do the drips in a certain controlled way so that you get a beautiful drip kind of pattern effect. Which I did get her permission to be able to use it myself as well, so I've used it in a few pieces of my artwork, particularly in the artwork that was made specifically for that short film. And I mean, in general, like, an artist can't really earn a technique, but as a professional courtesy, it's like, it's nice to ask. It's nice to ask and discuss it, and so that, you know, your friend does not feel ripped off if you do something that is like, hey, that was their work, that was their idea or inspiration. It's just a nice thing to do. So. And speaking of just, you know, being generally nice, again, I do request that everybody in the chat does try to be all family friendly. I will not lock this this video or channel as being specifically kid friendly, because that would also turn off the comments. and I want to build a community where everyone can feel safe to like talk about whatever they like. But yeah, I do want everyone to be respectful to each other and just nice. So please keep that in mind, and just like, you know, let us be all nice and supportive and nice to each other. Now, I've noticed I've missed a spot on the side here with some of the orange, so I'm just going to take some of the orange on my brush and just fill that right in. There we go. I'm going to just extend it right over the edge there to blend it in, so it doesn't just look like push is a word. Here we are. Oh, pink. And you see, as I was mentioning before, when it dries, you do get like totally different kind of streaks, because some things will like blend, and some things will like kind of have their own separate stroke. Right, so here you see how that dried a bit, so when I put the brush over it, it's still like a fairly bold line. And then here where it's like still wet, when I blend it, it really blends right in. And you know, sunsets are a bit like that, aren't they? Where you have a little more light coming through in certain areas than others. Is there some way of not being in that light? No, there isn't. Okay, well, you're just gonna have my big fat head showing up on the canvas over here. Actually, maybe if I tilt this way a bit. Yeah, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. As I said, I'm gonna blend in a few more of these pinks. Let's go. We want a darker first. Oh, so we'll get darker first. Oh, I was mentioning earlier about paint. So, when they get a bit dry, sometimes they can be a bit tricky to open. I'm just gonna. I have these rags here too. Rags are very, very handy for painting. Clean the brush as you go. You can clean surfaces. You can even, if you wanted to put some textures and things, you can like scrunch them up and dip them in the paint and use them as a spongy, stampy technique. That is another technique you can use. Art just has so much freedom to it, you know? Like the more free you are about it, the more creativity just comes through. So, yeah, that's a little bit more kind of purplish coming through there. I'm actually going to keep that completely on this side. I'm kind of liking how things are mixing a little bit. Now, so this brush, if you do it with the like long flat parts, you get a nice thick line, and if you turn it on the side, you get very like thin lines, right? And the edges will be slightly thicker than the middle bit, so you will get these streaking effects right here, where if you do this, see how you get that like flat line, but you see how it's slightly darker here and slightly darker here, but very light in the middle. And then if you do this, need more paint. If you do this, you get a very clear, defined, flat line. Right? So brush techniques, yeah, the angle of which you use the brush can greatly affect the type of stroke you get. And particularly with the flat brushes, you can get very, very different effects, very broad strokes and very thin strokes that are either like the broader strokes are going to have like a thinner paint coverage, and the sideways and the sideways strokes, so not the broad flat, the sideways strokes, you will get very thin, very thick lines, which will be very different from if you get like a fine round brush and you do a stroke. You'll get a far more like, it will still be like a thin line, and with these round brushes as well, you can control the thickness during the stroke. So you see this like tippy here, right? If you put less pressure on that stroke, right? Then you get like a smaller, thinner line. And if you put more pressure, it gets thicker. And then if you put in less, then you get thinner again. So, I mean, a lot of artists like to do that with petals, because you get your thin, and then you go thick, and then you get thin again. And that gives you like a petal, right? So like thin, thick, thin. And since I did not want yellow there, again, we can use the rag. You can wipe that off. You'll still get a little bit of the yellow. Yeah. But you can wipe most of it off. Dip some water in there. And just rub that right off. Really rub it off. And again, I love acrylics because, yeah, water pretty much wiped that yellow right off. You just need water. Whereas with oils, it is a far more complicated process with oils. Which, again, is probably why a lot of, like, student sets, so beginner artists will be working with acrylics. Acrylics are just generally easier to work with. They are the more modern, recent technology. So, what I will be excited to get into, which we will do next episode, because again, we're running out of time here before it gets too big for me to upload, is that I do have some metallic acrylics too, which I will put as a wash on this painting right here. So I'm going to do just a couple more strokes of this in the next color pink. And again, I'm using a wet brush, dipping my brush in water, dipping my brush in the paint, and dipping it in some more water. Maybe giving it a little stir in my palette, in my pink pot palette there. And then I'm just going to bring it in from this side this time. Definitely need more water. And again, I'm gonna do it this way so that any drips will come out this way. So actually, I'll do it this way because the drips will drip the other way. I'm just really blending that out. Blend, 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 blend. Blend, 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 blend. Blend, blend, blend. right in. Alright, just making sure that really connects up with the orange there. You might get a bit more of the lighter pink. Oop, that is a little too much. As I said, you can always put a little bit of Glad wrap over it to preserve it for the next time if you are going to leave it for a bit. But yes, I really do love this beautiful pre-made pink. This is a very pretty pink. And I do love pink. Pink is a beautiful color. I probably will finish the rest of this background this way because I do like the fact that we get the drips going this way instead of that way, even though the final piece will actually be this way. So, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us and spending some time with us, some quality time with us. Please like, share, subscribe so we can start getting some of that cool live streamings happening. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!